Thokozani, I am Pobadimu and I welcome you to my channel. Thank you so much for choosing to view my video. Today we're going back a little. Starting on is my child gifted, because in our societies today, kuba ngathi umntwana uma is showing up and saying ukuthi nginamadlozi, or they start acting out and it is being said that umntwana unedlozi, kuba ngathi it's something they just take from the streets or from the internet because everything is out there, because it's like kuba ngathi thina we wake up one morning and we're like, mama sabawell edlozi, or siyavuka ekuseni sabawell thiyo. You can never sabawell into enje noma ubuhlungu obunje ingulo efana nalena. So I think, Tina, as a generation that we are today, we're going to be better parents, and our kids are also going to be better parents because we are going to be raising spiritually inclined kids, and we won't be putting them gulama predicament where our parents are putting us today. The kids that are dropping out of school, not understanding what is going on because of a calling. And when that is being addressed endlini, umntana uphethwe istrati noma sekayadelela, or they're being rebellious, and that is not being properly addressed. So with this few minutes of this video, I'm going to be reiterating all of this, and hopefully you can take something from this and learn from it yourself, so that even if you're not a parent but you identify that I was ingulo eyedlozi, and sometimes kuba nzima whereas abazali are saying to you, this is not something esuki khona la ekhaya, akunasangoma akazokaba nasangoma, uyithatha bona lento ekuphethe, So we are born gifted. It displays itself from the early days. You can tell umntana that is born gifted from izinto abazithandayo. They always like to isolate themselves. They are very different kids. They're compassionate kids. They are the kids that are able to pick up things or sense things in the house more than the other kids. They are kids that even izinto abazithandayo, even you can tell the pattern umntana khula that, and they will get to a stage where umntana does not understand what is going on with them. They're going through a phase, but where we normally pick up, if umntana is gifted or not, is when they approach the adolescent stage, because adolescent stage is where umuntu is now becoming, of age, and they get to identify who they are in the society, etc. So that's when the spiritual, inclination starts to be greater, or the spiritual awakening starts now to grow, So then sometimes it's misconflicted, or rather confused ukuthi umntana unobizo, kanti no, isipho sisuke siziveza because ngaleso sikhathi umntana usuke at a point of an identity. Sometimes they suffer an identity crisis, not understanding, because a lot goes on around that stage. They're 16, they're 15, they don't understand what is happening, and they feel as though this is going to happen now, and it necessarily won't, but it's just the gift presenting itself. Now ngiyakhula, and this is who I am, this is part of who I am, this is what I carry. Because from that age, you now start to live your life, or rather look at things differently, because little things are going to trigger you. Even indlela or identify ngayo izinto is going to be different. Even from the colors, they like your dark colors, your reds, they even preferences, they're not into a lot of things. Sometimes they're outdrawn. Sometimes, it's a lot of things that are there, but you can identify that umntwana lona is gifted, because even with the dreams that they're going to reiterate to you, you are able to pick up as a parent. No, you know what, this child is gifted, and this is something we need to look into, rather than just let it go and think umntana uyazenzisa noma uphethwe amadimoni. Now, something that is a very big problem is that kuba ngathi amadlozi awafuna ukuthi abantwana bafunde isikolo, or amadlozi ayekisa abantwana inkolo abayenza izidakwa. And that's not the case. If you see that umntwana has a gift, into njalo, you sit down in the family, discuss a way forward, nenze ikhambi ncane, niphahlisa umntana, nimcelele ukuthi acede ngokwemfundo yakhe, then mase kakhulile enough to make a decision for themselves, uzohamba aye ephehlweni. Because the reality is, no parent is going to want umntana ke aye ephehlweni, avume nje ukuthi no ungahamba uye ephehlweni. Because I remember when my journey started, and when I started identifying myself, my true self, myself. It was when I was around 14, 15, 16. And at that time, obviously, my mom wouldn't agree with ngihambe ngiyotwasa. But lokho bakwenzela kona kwangisiza because bangicelele emadlozini. I understand. No, we see you guys, we feel you, but not now. Not, and that happens. So that is why now that problem where people think nami in my 20 something years of age or 30 something years of age, no, just give me time. No, it does not happen like that. But when you are at that age of 14, 15, 16, you're still a bit young, and you're still trying to identify yourself. And you don't have the ability to do so. But you rely on a parent or an elder in the family. That is why avoiding the case of and all these other things, because then it was safe as young as 10, as young as 12, but not in this day and age where abantu bayarepwa emaphehlweni, abantu are being turned into drug addicts emaphehlweni. And the whole abuse, we need to also think of the makeup of ingqondo yomuntu on a 14, 15, or 16-year-old. Will they be able will they be able to amagazi? So you think to yourself that let me wait a bit while this person is of age enough to understand, because as a grown woman that I am, I still suffer traumas as I say pehlweni. You understand? So you can imagine a 14-year-old going through that. What does it do to them when they're in their 20s? So it is a lot to comprehend. So rather wait when a person is of age enough to make decisions and take that leap. Let me now decide what am I going to do with my life and make the decision or not. But in terms of parents, it's perfectly understandable, because nameka bebeza bazongbona mina ngithwase ngina 22 going on 23, and I remember ekhaya the way bebakhala ngakhona, mabazongbona, because I was not in a good state even physically, but I understand now. So it's perfectly understandable, but as a parent, if you see that umntanakho is going through 1, 2, 3 or is struggling spiritually and they're not even able to concentrate esikolweni, because you need to understand that the opening, or rather spiritual awakening of a gifted person, it is very disturbing. Concentrate umntana esikoleni, uzobona izinto esikoleni, they can't even put together a simple thing. I mean, ngangoa mina, bangiphahlele ekhaya, yes, but ngagoa, because I remember even when I was doing my trick, I was going through the most. It was so hard to study, it was so hard to do the minimalist of things, but not with the knowledge that I had now. Now the knowledge is, if you are raising a gifted child, every year umntana hambani nomcela noma ngamphahlele emsame ekhaya noma emsame omkhulu noma nimuse emanzini nomphahle, but don't go to the extent of ukuthi manje umntana sekahambe insebenzo and all of these things and you making decisions for them that they can't comprehend. Rather wait for umntana to be of age to say, no mom, mina, this is how I'm gonna go about my life. And then that is why you find ukuthi there's a whole generation of people that are like, mina angifuna ukuthwasa, and or rather mina ngiyasaba, rather ukuthi umntana umthole senimfake emanzini, umntana, because sometimes if umntana you trigger that thing, for example 14, 15 uno is going through an awakening, manimuse emanzini nikhuphuka isidlozi, manimfake emanzini nikhuphuka isidlozi, bese liyamhlukumeza, bese ugcina umntana adla amabhudlo, bese umntana ugcine understand umntana akasabi normal. I've encountered so many of these cases lying to many, and I always advise the parents of the same thing, ukuthi phahlani amadlozi, nazi ukuthi every year umntana namphahlele, umntana makaphupha athi mama ngicela ngithele into nje, do that nimthengele, because loyo muntu loyo is going under an identity yakhe ngokwedlozi until kuze kufike isikhathi sokuthi abizwe, so I'm avoiding a case whereby abantwana are conflicting nabazali and they say, you're not allowing me ukuthi ngihambe ngiyotwasa, etc. You understand that? Now as a child, put yourself in your parents' position, and as a child living under your parents' house, I think it's a bit stressful ukuthi ufuna uyotwasisa ubani, ngani, ngekiphi imali. Endlini uyabona ukuthi umama is a single parent, or ikhaya libheke ubaba, and now ufuna ukuyotwasa, they're gonna want a numerous amounts of money, and uzobuya usebenze, And sometimes what happens there affects you so much ukuthi you can't have a normal life uma usuqedile ukuthwasa. Our parents birthed us having goals for us, having dreams for us, and they always have this thing ukuthi once umntwana msekathwasile, that is it for them, you know. But I will sit here today and say I also had the same fears, but impilo goes on. You know, I sacrificed a lot. That is why uzothola ukuthi kuyashabalala izinto ngaphambi kokuthi uhambe uye ephehlweni. Kanti if umntanakho umkhulisa ngendlela uwazi ukuthi la ngikhulisa isangoma, and this is how I'm going to groom my child. We avoiding situations of abantwana being pushed into amasonto, being pushed into things abangazifuni. You know, you end up dictating the gift to your child instead of the gift ukuthi izvelele. So as a child, don't be stubborn or disrespectful just because you were told ukuthi unedlozi. And even on the social media streets, avoid being told ukuthi unedlozi. I don't consult anyone that is under 18 without a legal guardian or a parent. Umthetho engiwusebenzisayo mina in my ndumba. Because whatever I'm going to share with you, I need a legal guardian to be here, or rather a parent. Also, I can't meet you in the street and tell you when unamadlozi and emele ngwise manzini, because today in this day and age, it's no longer safe. At that age, you're not matured enough to think, oh, is this being a scam or what not? Because wonke umuntu manje sekayagezisa, wonke umuntu kusemanzini, nihamba nithathe imikhokha thinking you're getting help. Kanti it's not necessarily the remedy to the problem at that particular time. So it's important that sometimes we get to identify ezinye izinto esuke zenzakala, because nithola abantwana sebaqamela amalabi, baphuka intamo, a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16-year-old, sekamela manje uhleli nomsamu buy 50, 100 because bathi kuyemele uthole laphi, and it's becoming stressful. Allow umntwana abe umntwana, but knowing very well ukuthi this is the type of child I am raising. Don't let everything consume impilo sekungathi, because depression iqala lapho. Uthola umntwana abe withdrawn, aqala identify as something as they're not, then jiki it's alcohol and drug abuse. And as a parent, it is hard for you to intervene uma indaba isinjalo. So sometimes even with us as parents, or rather even with our parents, you know, they would disapprove of lento edlozi and say ukuthi idlozi alikho ekhaya and etc because of the fears nakhona ukuthi mhlambe ekhaya kungani umuntu okuthwasa, or maybe uze bathi ukhokho wakho, and beningazi ukuthi ukhokho bekanedlozi because maybe ukhokho bekazifihla angafuni nasemzini wakhe kwaziyo, because ubungoma was not njengamanje. Then it was a secret. You understand? Kwakuyimfihlo, kwakuyinto engajwayelekanga ukuthi you know, not like now. Now it's a pandemic. But not like now. But you know, you would also think ukuthi this man will not marry me, or emzini bazongithatha kanjani mase kuthiwa ngisangoma, and ezinye izinto would just be swept under the carpet, not understanding. But what I want to highlight for you is that akekho umuntu othwasela omunye umuntu. I know they were always told ukuthi uhlutha idlozi because uzibanibani azange ungathwasa and all of this. The analogy around that is that if with generations and generation bekhanjwa kuyothwasa, now the spiritual concept, or rather the spiritual understanding ekhaya lapho becomes better, because niyazi ukuthi oh, this generation, after this generation kuzoba nozibani ozozala ozothathela idlozi. But now if that is not happening, uthola ukuthi ukhokha zange wathwasa even before and before, mase kufika kuwe i-calling will come kulawo ma generation. Mase ifika if njalo mayifika emntwini iyahlukumeza because benganamuntu oyithathayo, and the spiritual understanding and connection iba nzima. You understand that? Not guti uthwasa because ugogo kagogo zangathwase. No. Ukuqhubekisa kwemfihla sekhaya noma isikhwama enisitholile kuyinhlanhla ukuthi ekhaya kube nabantu abenedlozi. So that is why kuba ngendlela ekuba ngayo in most cases ebantwini. That's what I wanted you to understand, because if ugogo wayethwasa bekazokwazi ukuthi mangihamba ashiya incwadi ukuthi umpho uzozala umntana lo azomzala uzothatha isikhwama. Done. You understand? Oh, ugogo makashona indumba yakhe ivalwe ibeke kwaziwe ukuthi we are the second generation. Good third generation, whoever's going to be born of that corner ozofika isikhiya sisihenge endaweni kanje kuyaziwa then kuba ngcono kanjalo, because ekhaya nizokwazi uku-identify ukuthi oh, No, uyaqala uyekuthaka nje umntwana. I think usebizwa idlozi. Understand uthathele idlozi elikhona because ukundluliselwa, it's passing off the baton. Not necessarily ukuthi ulothwasela mmoha because mmoha hankamphoya high. Mmoha unalimpoya high liena. As much as wena unalimpoya how. So no one walks your journey for you. You walk your journey for yourself because no ngoba ungathwasa wena self. But if umama khona une gift yakhe uzoloka hlusha igift yakhe, it's not good mawuthwasa nonke senze nabodla nonke one time. No, everyone walks their journey because idlozi lakho nalo isipho lesi usithathe edlozini elakhe nalo idlozi lakhe lithathe edlozini. It's a generational thing. If you look at it like that, you get to see the beauty of our ways. Oh my dlozi aksemandi. So it is of things. So you accepting your gift over mubizo lakho, it is of pride into sukuyenza. Understand that is why kuba nenjabulo emadlozini ukuthi wow, you know, I can imagine all these generation bebangafuni ukuthasa kwavumbuka mina Cynthia Roth ngasi ngiyabangena. So here we are today. But coming back to the topic at hand is that let us not be ignorant as parents and let us not be hard on our kids as parents. We are in a different world. We are in a different time. And let us allow our kids to be. And now as a child, don't impose into oyiyo to your parents. If they don't understand, try to educate them or else, because if you're still dependent, then you have no decision to make a decision for yourself. You have to abide to what is being said ekaya and etc. With even my son, I was saying, my son is gonna have he's likely to have a mom like me because I won't impose anything. Even one day, and he's like, hey, as in when I go kumpo, I bye girl. I won't be like, hey, why are you doing this? I will allow him to be because I'm not that type of a person. Ngashayisa na mama bonda, akukho la ngahambanga khona ngithi ngizama ukuthola uncedo. And I remember I was of a certain age ngiyang ngiso kobunye ubaba engihamba amabhavu lapho etc. It was a traumatic experience mangicabanga lento le manje. So I don't want that of my son. I know my son is going to inherit whatever he's going to inherit spiritually, but I won't shove it in his face ukuthi yewena or anything. And I would not also appreciate ukuthi I dictate, you know, angakwazi ukwenza decision something ngama pampers. He cannot make that decision for himself. But it is sitting together as a family and understanding ukuthi this is that. And siye kukubona idlozi as though amademoni. Siye kukubona amadlozi as people that are illiterate, that always want our kids to drop out of school and that always want our kids to roam around estradini. I always say umuntu onobizo enodlozi ngempela. Idlozi masecedile yamphilela umsamo uyampilela loyo because you inheriting the light of the family, you inheriting ukukhanya kwasekhaya. So 80% of laben babona abaphithizela estradini aimlessly not knowing around, they just sabawel madlozis. They sabawel sangoma life and they ended up kulawama situation, or they were scammed by people telling them good bana madlozi where else abanawo themselves. So it's important sometimes to also niyeki imfihlo as parents, sit down and think and have a family tree nazi ukuthi umntwana uthathele kubani, not to make umntwana feel small, because sometimes we discriminate ebantwaneni bethu because of the gifts they carry. And akekho umntwana osuke azikhethela ukuthi mina when I grow up I want to be a sangoma. Nothing. It does not happen like that. It doesn't happen. If it was the case, then I think probably nami kube ngakhetha something else. But it does not happen like that. So let us try to be better parents, you know. So even our approach, men of approach, each scenes are not good. Manje umntwana, you know, traumatic experience sekayisesontweni sekayithola ama deliverance kanti unamadlozi uthola 15 16-year-old sekaspina lapati. Look at this marine spirit spinning like a marine woman. What are you saying? Yeah. It's very painful. It's very painful. Like I always say that, you know, my dad took a long time to warm up to who I was, because at one point, gangi Christian guys, gangi mhamselu mithandaza, I was that kid. So jiki ngiyavumbuka baba sengisangoma, and it's like, okay, what is going on? So it's totally understanding that ekhaya, none of this has ever happened, you know. And I think abanye abazali will also come with that statement ukuthi akaze kwaba nesangoma la ekhaya. But akaze kwaba nesangoma, why? understand because akumase nje kuvele kuthiwe kunesipho esikhona. You always need to go deeper. And as parents, ningasabi nani to take your child for consultations. I applaud parents abazayo kimi with their kids bazo consulta nabo, because those sessions end up moving so beautifully because they get to see things differently, and even those kids get to see things differently. And sometimes even Idlozi comes forth and says, good to know, by a certain age, you're gonna be gone. And honest, you're gonna be a gone girl with izinto zakho zedlozi. So I think it puts some ease at home. Ukuthi we won't necessarily put so much pressure. Ubona umntwana in varsity is struggling, ukuthi they're not doing so well. You know, you wanna put pressure on them. Ganti at the time idlozi seliyaphakama because nothing was addressed. So let us be better parents. Even our connection amadlozi wethu ibe ngcono, because ngangigoa nami kwa matric ngayize ngivela amathambo la. I'll even look for that picture and try post it on this page, and nginsharele ukuthi nami ngangigoa those days. Ngangigoa about, I was going a lot. Even in varsity ngaba west, that is when I lost my sight. Because remember, mani zophahlela umntwana ningakhohlwa into niphahla isithembu esensenza emadlozini ukuthi umntwana maseke rich, because mina ekhaya the promise they made was that makaqeda isikole azange basathi makaye university. So that's when I lost my sight. So make sure that whatever promise you are going to make in zedlozi, you keep to that promise so that izinto zizoba ngcono. And singabi labo bazali, normalize ukuphahla, normalize ukukhuluma ngamadlozi, normalize understanding the family tree, normalize understanding the spirituality, because it is only then you understand, because oh, ugogo ambeka namadlozi, but she was just hiding it, because abogogo bonke you'd find ukuthi bayabhola, yeah. And you just say good person dem apostolic, and you don't know good babaleka ngendlela babaleka ngayo. So let's also stop this thing nathi as healers saying ukuthi because umama kazibani and now sekuba ngathi umntwana nimthese wonke umthwalo. No, it's just sitting down and making someone understand, you know, from a point of a spiritual reference. But thank you so much for coming through to my channel. I hope you are in better spirits and Thokozani, and you will definitely enjoy more content coming your way. So do like and subscribe, and don't forget to like my Facebook page, and don't forget to also follow me on Instagram. Everywhere I am Mpoa Badimu. There can only be one of me, honey. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much. I am Mpoa Badimu, the advocate of Idlozi, a certified African doctor. And this was once again another Oh My Idlozi insightful video. I'll definitely see you later. We are on a road to 100 videos, so don't forget the promise I made on 100th video. So we're doing the things that need to be done. But thank you so much for coming through. I am Mpoa Badimu. I'll definitely see you later.